I'm going to start off with addressing Emmanuel Aycott. On Sunday, after returning from our trip in the Bay Area, Emmanuel informed our coaching staff that he will not play the remainder of the season and intends to transfer at the end of the spring semester. We will continue to support Eman this spring while he's here academically as a student. He's an outstanding student, currently in good academic standing, and we want to ensure that when he transfers that remains the same for him. Eman is a great young man, and I wish him continued success and more success on his journey ahead. If you'd like to ask me questions about our team, the guys that are here, I'll be more than happy to answer, but that's my statement as it applies to Emmanuel making his decision.
So you don't want to say anything about like what's behind it, or is he? I mean, this just seems weird. Like maybe
I just addressed that.
With one less player, how do you see the rotation in the front court going?
Good question.
Do you have an idea for who's going to be starting at this point?
Yeah, I think we'll move Ryan Luther into the starting lineup, although we still have a couple days before our game. Ira Lee could potentially be that guy. Dylan Smith also could be that guy. But, I think the three things that happen moving forward for us, and we addressed it yesterday with our practice, is, Ira Lee has played some outstanding basketball. He was headed in that direction before we went to the Bay Area, and he continued to deliver and play really good in the Bay. But we're playing him about 15 minutes a game, and right now he's earned more minutes. So playing with Chase Jeter, not just for him, is something that we were moving towards anyway, and I feel like that'll happen more and more. What that addresses for us is more rebounding, the ability to get second shots, and defensively, when a shot goes up, having our two best defensive rebounders per minute played in the game at the same time, which we've not done a lot this year. The second thing is Ryan Luther obviously has played that four position about half the game, and his minutes will increase. One of the things, especially on his end, is although he's an older player, this is his first year playing for us. And usually I always look at freshmen mid-January. Once they get a dose of what Pac-12 plays like, go home for Christmas, the non-conference season's behind them. We've practiced over 60 times right now, that they really have a better feel for, okay, this is how everything works at Arizona. So with that, giving him an extra 4-6 minutes, I think could be healthy for his confidence. And obviously Ryan's played some very good basketball for us. I would say if you follow our team closely, when he plays well, Ryan Luther, that's when you've seen Arizona at its best. And here, headed down the stretch of his college career, I hope that this additional opportunity can bolster his play. So you have Ira, and then you have Ryan. The one thing that we want to make sure that we don't lose is defensively quickness at that spot where we can switch, pick and rolls. There's so many today. A lot of teams in the Pac-12 play with a smaller group, and that four position is really a small forward and sometimes even a guard. Oregon does that. We've experimented with Dylan Smith being in that role already, if you followed us in the Bay. Big moments at Stanford and even at Cal, we played him at that role. What's deceiving about Dylan is for our guards, he's not only our best defensive player, but he's also our best defensive rebounder. And with Ira Lee and him able to play more minutes, I think that's something that could quietly go our direction is our ability to rebound the ball. But these are our circumstances, and to your question, that's what we're working towards. Ira Lee, a bigger opportunity. Ryan Luther, a more of an opportunity, of more of the same. And then certainly Dylan being able to be that, kind of that jack of all trades guy where we can count on him at the end of games. Against Utah, for example, when we were going offense, defense, Dylan is somebody that we really, really trust. And so that's kind of what we're doing.
The Cal Cal game kind of showed just how thin it can be with when foul trouble gets to be an issue, and Lee seemed to manage to play through that despite having 3 in the first half and almost kind of played fearless despite that. Was that a game that really can build for his confidence?
Yeah, the Stanford game's actually the game that I think builds his confidence. I mean, he made the game-winning basket. He made 2 clutch free throws, and throughout the game, he made big plays while Chase was in foul trouble. But back to my point, Ira has mastered the role of being able to fill in when Chase is out, whether Chase is taking a break, foul trouble, etc. But what we're looking to do is get Ira out there just a little bit more, and now we have that opportunity. And certainly I think someone like Ira, who works as hard as he does, I think if you ask his teammates, they'll tell you that nobody in our program gives more of himself in practice than Ira. And he's been that way since he got here as a freshman. And you could start to see the light go on where he's playing with more confidence. He's playing smarter. If you look at his turnovers, in November, they were really off the charts. Illegal screens, kind of trying to do things too fast on offense. But over the last 4 games and really the last month, he has cut his turnovers down. He's playing a smarter brand of basketball, and we feel really good about the track that he's on.
The number of assists have gone up significantly since league play started. What do you attribute this success to?
Taking less three-point shots. We were taking too many. We were taking too many challenged to three-point shots, too many quick three-point shots. Being a disciplined team, a team that can win away from home, shot selection is every bit as important as turnovers, taking care of the ball. We've cut our three-point shooting down, and we've traded in some contested threes for more drives. And drives, that's really what gives you the assist, because when a player is able to go at the basket, get into the lane area, find his teammates with the pass, those many times create the best shots for us. They don't have to be three-point shots, but and it's not one player that's getting better in that area. I think it's several. Brandon Randolph, if you look at maybe how he would have played in November and December, and how he's starting to play now. He's an overall smarter player. And with Brandon Randolph, he's always been a scorer and a guy that can beat you shooting the ball. But what I love about him is he's embracing becoming a better defensive player. He made a couple plays in the Bay Area where he put the ball on the floor and made some other people better. And that's a good sign for not only our team but for Brandon, because he came to us wanting to be a complete player, and I think he's again a lot like Ira. The development of him is really moving in a good way. I would also say, if you keep the statistics of our team, Brandon Williams is also really settling in. His shooting percentage is up. He's learning how to take better shots, and you have to remember there's such a difference between high school and college when it comes to zone defenses. No matter how talented you are, a college zone defense is much different than the one you experienced in high school. And it takes some adjusting. It takes some game experience. And we all learned a hard lesson when we played Baylor. That's not the only reason that we lost that game. Baylor hurt us badly on the glass. But just being able to move the ball easier against the zone and drive it against the zone and take better shots, Brandon is doing that. And again, like a lot of freshmen who have a big opportunity, the month of January starts to settle them in, and we're really seeing that with him.
Through the first 4 Pac-12 games, you guys are shooting above 86% from the free throw line. Was that an emphasis going into Pac-12 play?
Free throw shooting is always an emphasis for us. And I like to say, hey, we shot more and we made more. But, free throw shooting, we are a very good free throw shooting team. On a single night that can leave you. But we have a lot of different players going to the line and shooting the ball with confidence. I mentioned Brandon Randolph. He's an outstanding free throw shooter, very similar to Alonzo Trier. Quietly in games, when those types of players make 2, go to the foul line, make 2, it really helps your offense. And no doubt, a big reason that we were successful on our last trip was, the 16 for 19, I believe, against Stanford. That was a big thing for us, and we have to continue that. A year ago, we both have different teams, but when we played Oregon, I think we shot maybe almost 50 free throws in that game. And we had an outstanding night from the line. That was a big reason we won. So for us, I hope that trend continues.
What are your thoughts on your overall roster at this point? Because I think this would get you back to 13 for next year. I know it's thinking far ahead in this day and age is crazy, but I was just wondering, I mean, do you expect things maybe to stay like this, or could you be out recruiting in the spring if more openings come up, or where do you think things will happen?
We're always recruiting, and the spring isn't here yet, but no doubt we'll continue to look to add, quality people and players to our program.
And then lately you've had a lot more guys leave early than transfer, but obviously there's transfers all over college basketball. I mean, just your thoughts in general, just on how things are going. A couple guys have gone this year, but I know it's part of the deal. So.
Yep, I mean, every program is experiencing a lot of turnover.
What changes have you seen in Oregon since Bull got injured?
Well, first of all, let me address Bull. That wouldn't be no different than Lowry Markkanen or someone like DeAndre having a season-ending injury. I mean, we don't want that for Oregon. We don't want that for the Pac-12, and certainly we don't want that for Bull. He's a terrific young man and really an outstanding, unique player. So because of his uniqueness, if you're the coach at Oregon, it's going to take a little bit of time to reinvent yourself and go away from maybe a few things that a guy of that size and skill level brings. In addition, they've had other injuries. Wooten being down, Lewis King missed a couple of games in the non-conference season, and they've really been hit as hard as a team can be hit with injury. So it's hard to judge them. But what I will say is Dana Altman is one of college basketball's best coaches, and I could see it this weekend. I know they dropped one against UCLA, but they played a great game against SC. He's really using his depth and his youth and his quickness to pressure. They are trapping, they're full court pressing, and creating a ton of turnovers. He has his team playing as hard as any team in our conference. I personally believe they're the hardest playing team right now in the Pac-12. And their effort, allows them to pressure you for 40 minutes, create a ton of turnovers and traps and deflections. And then on the offensive end, they do an outstanding job of getting second shots. And they don't do it with, players at 6'10", 250. They do it with wings and guards and a couple bigs that just relentlessly crash the offensive glass. And the more second shot opportunities that Oregon gets, the more turnovers that they create with their defense, the better team that they are. And the two keys for us is, make them miss, and when they do as good of a job as we can of blocking out and getting those rebounds that have sometimes haunted us this season, and being a team that at home can play against their pressure and take care of the ball, because when they steal it, they score. And that's what ignites their pace and the way they play.
What do you see without Wooten, particularly this month or so they're going without him, and how you think that's changed the way they play without two big guys in there?
Yep, no doubt. I just answered that. Full court pressure on defense, guys crashing the offensive glass that range from 6'2" to 6'8", playing with tremendous effort. I think they have quality depth. Lewis King might not be somebody that everybody in the West knows, but he's one of the best players in his high school class. He's a very talented. You could see, I think, in the 3 Pac-12 games, he's averaging about 18 points per game. They play him at the small forward and the 4. 6'8", can do a lot of things. I think he's one of the best freshmen in the country. And he's settling in, a lot like Brandon Williams on our end. These guys get into the month of January and they start to really find out what to do and how to do it. And you could see that as Lewis King settles in and becomes an all-conference type of player, Oregon is developing as a team. Paul White is another player for them that's really a hard matchup. Dana Altman loves those forwards that he can kind of downsize and play against the true big. They play Paul White at the 4 and the 5. They play Lewis King at the 3 and the 4. Offensively, when that lineup's in, it's very, very difficult, and they create a lot of mismatches, and that's something that we have to be ready for. And easier said than done, but that's a lineup that we have to make sure that we don't let beat us.
Does it say anything? I mean, there was some concern, I think, up there that when they lost the way they did to UCLA, that it would be tough to rebound from that, and then they came out and played pretty well the next game. I mean, does that, I don't know if that kind of amount built on was pretty historic, but just your thoughts on the way they came back from that. Does that make a difference, or is that maybe overstated?
I mean, I think they've already bounced back. Dana Altman, that's not the first tough loss he's ever had. He's been at this a long, long time. Outstanding coach. Oregon's an outstanding program. We respect them a great deal. They play us always very tough. I should say this, we play them tough. The games that they've been the favorite seem to be hard-fought games and vice versa. So, we know that we're in for a really tough battle, and they know what they're doing. They play with outstanding effort. They have a couple of players that I think are hitting their stride now that they've had some practices and game experience without Bull. They'll continue to settle in and be the best team that they can be without him. And Wooten, I hope he plays because he's another outstanding player, great shot blocker. And when he's a part of their team, he adds to their press because of his defense, and he adds to their rebounding because of how quick he is. So I'm assuming that he's trying to get back, and if he does, they'll be an even better team.
When Chase Jeter decided to come to Arizona, did you expect him to have this big of a role in his team?
I did. We recruited Chase out of high school, and I think the year off where he was able to practice against DeAndre, and Dusan, and Keanu. And it's one thing to be able to practice against them, but Chase loves the game of basketball. He's got a great work ethic and a great mind. And he invested, while he was out, he practiced hard. He worked on his game. He had a really strong summer and fall. And he's been waiting for this opportunity. He's hungry. And I think if you love the game, you're hungry, talented, it's just a matter of time. And he's gotten a big opportunity for us, and he's delivered. And, we're only halfway through right now, so I think, the rest of the season is something that I'm eager to see Chase embrace because, again, he hasn't been playing for a long time, and the best, in my opinion, is yet to come for him.
I know he's a senior, but has Justin Coleman also started to kind of settle in for you guys now?
He has. He played with great confidence against Stanford and Cal. And, again, I can't underscore enough how impressive it is to watch him navigate through a dislocation of his shoulder. And think about playing 4 minutes against Colorado just because he's just playing for the win. He's playing, you hear coaches sometimes refer to players that play for each other, that they really care about their teammates. Justin, the reason that his teammates named him captain was that type of quality. And that set the tone for a lot for us. And then watching him play even more and play well against Utah and then move into this week, he's hitting his stride. There's no doubt about it. But his best overall game was his last game against Cal because he did it not only on offense, but he really did it on defense too. So we showed him a lot of clips of himself in the Bay yesterday, and more of the same is what our message is to him. But Justin is confident in himself, and it's great to have a guard like that out there because when your point guard is confident and playing with confidence, that has a way of becoming contagious.
You talked about the depth earlier in the front court. Now, on the off chance you have injury or foul trouble, and you mentioned Dylan being a jack of all trades, I mean, could it be possibly play Dylan at the 4 in a pinch if you have to? Or what's your plan, say, if Ryan or Ira have foul trouble and you need another guy?
Yep, no, Dylan, and he's already done that more than you realize. He did it this weekend some, and that's the role right now that we're really trying in practice to make him more familiar with.
Anything else for Coach? Thank you.